Monday, June 10th, day 320, and I'm fairly sure that you can, well, I'm pretty sure that you cannot really see me very much, and if you can, then I look weird because I'm walking around in the dark with sunglasses on. I might as well warn you if you catch a glimpse. And that is not because I am crazy or trying to conceal my identity or anything. It is because I am shielding my eyes from grass pollen. Pollen tends to drop in the air, fall down around dark, because then things get cooler and they are not kept in the air by the heat anymore. And the reason I'm out late, and I am out late, it's past midnight, so technically I'm in Tuesday territory, but I'm walking in the middle of the road so I don't hit someone else who's talking on the phone. Well, no problem, no cars racing me down, anything, fine. But I think I'm getting close to driving. Well, anyway, I'm out because I was at the movies, watched the new Star Trek movie, fine piece of entertainment, I might say. But when I was on my way home, I got a text from the one friend of mine that I'm doing a project with. She'd been talking to the people that had been talking about investing. And it had been a really weird conversation. And I got a detailed version of it when I visited her, because this was something that had to be talked out. I didn't force myself on to visit anything, but it was clear that we had to kind of figure out what was going on here. And what was going on was apparently that what was originally presented as if it was a realistic opportunity for some investment was not really that. It was a seemingly inexperienced person, although not young, but seemingly inexperienced person who thought that someone he met just casually out on the town and started talking with was someone who had a complete finished product precisely tailored for his professional needs. We thought we had a package deal that he could just present to someone. I don't even know who. Still not sure. He's a chief consultant, which it means that nobody really knows what he does. I don't even know if he knows. Consultants are typically just, just is so much, but consultants are very often, in my experience, people who basically filter and redistribute information, meaning that he knows about some things and then he tells other people about it, if it's the form of consultant that I know. But he clearly wasn't ready to handle this, because what he really wanted was just to take something that was prepackaged and tell the people he responds to, what's the word? He reports to that he had this. Okay, goodbye. It wasn't like that. We got the feeling from him that it was about developing the idea for his needs. It wasn't. He expected it to be pre-developed for his needs. Not him specifically, but for any kind of investment needs. And that's not what we do. But he seemed to be horribly inexperienced. And in fact, the conversation, and I know this for a fact, the conversation ended with my friend, after about half an hour of talking, of mainly him talking to my friend and in a very condescending tone, telling her that this is what investment is and this is what it is. Never really telling what he did, but telling her what she was supposed to do, which she isn't, because that's not the project we're doing. But after that, she asked, okay, if we get all this refitted, can we contact you about it? And his response was, I don't really know what I can click. And he just hung up. No frustration, no confrontation, no showing signs that of anything. He just abandoned the conversation. He just bailed because apparently he couldn't figure out what to say. In the Danish version, I accidentally said that's something a teenager does, but that's not something a teenager does. That's something a small child does. This was a man in a somewhat professional conversation with a person he had been in a similar conversation with before. And from what she started to explain about the previous conversation, which I had apparently completely misunderstood, well, not completely, but I hadn't caught up on, I hadn't read between the lines right. He was, in general, kind of vague, and discussed personal matters about his girlfriend in a professional conversation, which doesn't fit anywhere. It's weird, and for all appearances, he was just some guy who thought he could handle a prepackaged solution, which turned out wasn't prepackaged to that very narrow field that he could actually handle, and he just bailed. So, but we're just moved. It's not a big hit. It's, of course, it's sad that we couldn't get a lot of money for something, but we're basically just moving back to where we were in the beginning, back to the original plan, which is, I'm stopping because up there's more traffic and more noise, which is that we don't really depend on investment. We have the skills, we have much of the insight, and the insight we're needing we can actually get without any cash. And it was always the plan to do this without any inflow of investment. So that's just where we're back at now. So that's kind of weird. On other points, I've been a little productive, but not much. But hey, it's Sunday. I get some liberties. So, and I've been thinking about that new project I've got in my head, and it seems easy, and it's probably not, but it's fun to think about. But I'm going to also, I forgot to actually say this in the Danish version, I'm starting to think of how to reach out to people, how to make what I'm doing more of a discussion from the get-go, and start discussions with people who I find are interesting in certain ways. Not all people who are interesting, but certain people who seem interesting for my project. Not as partners, but just who seem interesting in general. I'm starting to think about how I can do that, how I can start a conversation instead of just trying to shout out, hey, here I am. So, doing some stuff, but there won't be any investment, and it's for reasons that are kind of weird and kind of silly. And I don't understand people who work with money. And I don't think they understand a lot of things outside of their field either. But that's the whole thing about a clear message. Gotta learn to communicate. Both sides are in on it.